Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Lock Shop. CFL Playoff Edition is two huge games this Sunday. As always, The Lock Shop brought to you by our wonderful partners over at Coolbet. If you're not yet signed up for an account, use the code LOCKSHOP, all one word, LOCKSHOP when you sign up, 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit, up to $200. YouTube channel, well over 200 members now. Huss, Winnipeg Sports Talk bump yesterday as I hopped on with you, and once again, $1,000 cash just sitting here waiting. When we hit 1,000 members, we're going to give that away. You just have to hop on Twitter at LockShopBets, retweet the pinned tweet, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you're in the mix. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, the link is right there in that pinned tweet. Well, what's up is we still don't really have snow here in Winnipeg.
What?
The Jets are in first place, and the Bombers are waiting for the British Columbia Lions and you, my friend, who'll be calling the game here on Sunday afternoon. So good times in the peg right now. And I'm really looking forward to these games. I had a good chat with Steve Simmons earlier today out in Toronto for something on WST later on. Listen, I think obviously we're going to see two very different environments in these two final games. Listen, we know what a struggle the Argos are in to get some asses in seats there. That will not be an issue here in Winnipeg. I can guarantee you that. And let's just get a quick weather update while we're here, Dusty, to see how things are shaping up for Sunday. Man, every time I look, the weather's getting a little bit warmer. Mike O'Shea won't like that. Earlier in the week, we thought we'd have a daytime high of -9, -8. It now looks like it's going to be -4. So, I mean, not too bad. A low of -3. So, I mean, it'll be in the single digits in all likelihood for game day. We'll see what the wind is like. That obviously can be quite impactful, but certainly won't be as chilly as it was when the Bombers took out the Riders last year in, of course, the December 5th game heading into the Grey Cup, which was played in the middle of December.
Very much looking forward to both of these games. Looking forward to being in Winnipeg, obviously, for that West Final. Should be absolutely amazing. But let's start out east here, Huss. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's start out east. We should note, Huss, that there's a bunch of other options already available as well. I mean, I'll throw our picks up here, but we should lay it out because we've got some CFL specials for the weekend over at Coolbet.
Well, exactly. And you know what? I tell you what, why don't we hit these games and then we'll get into the specials, because I think a lot of the things we're talking about, both of these games, when we're talking about picking out of four teams, we'll kind of go over. But we're going head-to-head in the East, and you like the visitors. And by the way, we are doing a Lock Shop Partner Parlay.
Yes.
I took the West, and I think you know where I was going, and I knew he would be down. Dusty's on the East, and that pick for our Partner Parlay is, in fact, the Alouettes at +3.5.
It is. And you know what? I know there's a lot of buzz because it's Nathan Rourke versus the team looking to go back to back to back. But the Argos and Alouettes have both played very well down the stretch. The Argos only have 2 losses in their last 9. The Alouettes only have 2 losses in their last 8. One of each of those losses was to each other. So I think this is going to be an excellent football game. And on top of it, I mean, they were relatively high-scoring football games. What was it, 38-33 and 24-23? Now, the last game didn't matter a ton, but they played 2 really close football games down the stretch here. You're getting the extra half point with the Alouettes as a dog. And I do, to me, like, the Alouettes don't have much to lose in this game, Huss. Whereas the Argos do. The Argos were in first place in the East all year, even when they weren't very good at the beginning of the year. The East Division was a joke, and it gradually got better. Hamilton figured it out a bit. The Alouettes got it going. I don't know how Toronto handles the pressure, to be honest with you. I mean, I think the Alouettes can come into this game probably a little bit more loosey-goosey, knowing that if they lose, they weren't picked to come out of the East to go to a Grey Cup by a lot of people. Whereas if the Argos don't get this done, I mean, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, he needs this game, I think. Like, he has to have a good game to kind of silence all the MBT doubters. Ryan Dinwiddie could use this game as well. And they've got rattled. I've talked about it a few times. Like, I don't know how the Argos handle any sort of early frustration in this game. Are they a talented team? 100%. I mean, I like them on both sides of the ball. They got pretty good defense as well. But I don't know. I feel like Montreal might be able to handle themselves better in this game. And I think it should be a close football game. So because of that, I mean, I'm going to take the +3.5 here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I kind of lay on the Argos side just because I think they're going to win. And, when we're talking about, a relatively short spread at 3 points, basically for home field, 3.5 in this case, I still think I'm going to lean towards the Argos. The one thing I'll say about Montreal is that they've been maddeningly inconsistent at times. And how many times were we doing picks this year where the Montreal Alouettes had just had a great game? We said, okay, now they're really hitting their stride. And then they maybe take a couple steps back. Now, listen, this is the game of their season. It's over if they don't win. So, you do expect them to be very well prepared. And to be frank, I was really impressed with what they did last week. I guess I'm not quite there with my worry about the Argos coming out for this game. I think we cannot overstate how important it is to have that bye, to have the game at home, to have your team preparing, practicing, resting when the Montreal Alouettes had to go through a really tough game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And then there's, the great intangible is the return of Andrew Harris. Now, I'm not sure how much he will play, but I imagine he will be. I mean, he's not there he's one of the best raw guys, if you will. I mean, his energy is infectious, but Andrew Harris also has that championship pedigree. And I think having him in the game and on the sidelines, part of the team, is going to be a huge boost for Toronto when they need it most. And, right now it looks like it's going to be 4 degrees, chance of flurries, maybe a little bit of rain. This is an Andrew Harris type of game. And man, if they can get a solid running attack to help McLeod Bethel-Thompson and not put it all on his shoulders, I think that's a big plus for the double blue. At the end, I'm sort of with you. I don't expect either team to run away with this game. I don't mind at all that the Montreal +3.5 is going to be on that partner parlay that we're putting together. And we'll get to our touchdown picks for that. But I think on a stand-alone wager, I'm going to ride with the home team, the team that had the bye last week, and that is the Toronto Argonauts in the East Final.
All right, and then let's slide over to the West. And let's start with this. This line was 5 yesterday. Now it's 4 Huss, which I do find somewhat interesting. Money coming in on the BC Lions here. Although we thought it would be, it's kind of funny. Before we laid out before the number was even posted, you and I were like, probably 4.5. Well, it opens at 5 and it moves to 4 within 24 hours. So I guess we were right around it. Are you surprised by the point move here in the first 24 hours?
Well, no, and I'm not surprised that in the last hour, once it got to 4, there was a lot of money coming in on the Bombers, and it's 4.5 again right now. Pretty much exactly where we thought it. If you're able to get that 4, good for you. It was nice timing for us getting ready for the picks to do this.
Yeah.
We were on the Bombers, considering that line move. But as of right now, Bombers are -4.5 at -112. BC is +4.5 at -109. And should mention, the number in the East game has switched a little bit. It's now actually -3 for Toronto.
Oh, wow.
-3. And Montreal, if you want them at +3, you're getting -106. So some good value there on, the Argos, I guess. I mean, that half point could be significant. We certainly had that with our NFL picks last week, that half point when that Minnesota-Washington game was a big number if you got it, because it meant a win as opposed to a push. But listen, let's get into this. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers have been preparing and getting ready for this game at home for the better part of the last couple months. Dusty, they have just finished the best regular season in franchise history, winning 15 games for the first time. And I don't need to roll out the accolades of this team, whether it be the All-Stars, the individual award winners, or the fact that they won the last 2 Grey Cups. This team is as well prepared as you will find in almost any sport. Mike O'Shea as a leader is on another level, in my opinion, as to the rest of his contemporaries in the Canadian Football League. And I got to tell you, one of maybe the unsung heroes of this season has been Buck Pierce. And I know you get a chance to talk to the coaches often when you're getting ready for these games. I mean, Buck's ability to game plan, take advantage of the Bombers' strengths and the opposition weaknesses has really been something. And they've had the extra week. The Bombers are rested, getting healthy again, ready to go. They are ready. Now, BC is a hell of a football team. Nathan Rourke has had just an amazing season, and his return, I think, is going to really add a lot to this game. But, man, BC, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, even without Zach Caleros, have been able to put up points on BC, I think averaging about 35 a game against the Lions so far this season. And with their defense getting healthy, getting back, to me, it could be a long, long afternoon for Nathan Rourke, especially considering I think we all agree that his mobility is not quite there. One other thing I want to mention about this West Final. Last year in the game against Saskatchewan, the Bombers turned the football over 5 times in the first half, and their defense held them in, and eventually the Bomber offense got going and turned that football game around. I don't expect the Bomb like that is one of those lessons that I think the Bombers have learned. I expect them to avoid that. I think they come out and have a monster first quarter and first half. And I think it's going to be really tough for the BC Lions to come from behind in the cold and the noise at IG Field. So whether it's 4 or the 4.5 that's posted right now, I do like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to win this game. I like them to cover the spread, and I like them to go into Regina as an overwhelming favorite to win a 3rd consecutive Grey Cup.
I mean, you lay it out very well. Nathan Rourke, pre-injury, BC Lions offense was the most efficient offense I've seen in the league in a long time. I mean, they were ridiculous. The guy was on pace for like 6,000 yards. But outside of that stretch from the Lions, the Blue Bombers have had the most efficient offense that I've broadcast all year. Like, you know, Calgary's shown some flashes offensively. The Riders never did. The Elks obviously never did. I haven't done a ton of games out east, but there were times when Zach Caleros was in that game where they just picked their way down the field. Like, it didn't matter what the defense did. It was insanely efficient. We're talking like 4 plays, 80 yards, 2.5 minutes, done. Then they go out and do it again. So I like how you laid it out that the Bombers could have a really good start in this football game. And if they get into that position where all of a sudden the BC Lions are going to have to abandon the running game with James Butler, who was banged up in the last game. I saw they posted a video of him chilling in Vancouver and the great weather yesterday. So, I mean, if he was really banged up, probably wouldn't do that. So, or they're tricking everybody. I mean, we'll have to see playoff time. But Rourke's lack of mobility probably as this game moves along. And, man, I'd love to see him 100% healthy in this game. I think it would just be amazing. I think the Bombers' defense and Richie Hall and Mike O'Shea will have a plan to get the job done against a less than 100% Nathan Rourke. The Bombers haven't put themselves in this spot by being caught off guard by anything in the last 3 seasons. So the number's 4. I don't know if I'd take it up much past 5. 5, I was debating. I like it at 4. You said it's moved to 4.5. I probably still like it at 4.5. I think I told you yesterday when we were talking about this on your show, Lions defense would give me a sense of hesitation. I mean, we'll see what happens. But Schoen and Dembski and Ellingson and a really underrated ground attack in Brady Oliveira and what he was able to do this year as well. There's a lot of weapons that can hurt you there if you're the if you're the Bombers offensively that maybe Calgary just didn't commit to or didn't want to last week offensively. So I think it's going to be a great game. I want it to be close. I think it will. I think we're going to have to sweat this pretty hard for the Bombers -4, buddy, but I think in the end, at home, they get it done.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't know if it'll be that close, honestly.
You don't think so, hey?
I don't want. Listen, I think.
Do you think the Bombers just blitz Rourke all day?
Yeah, yeah.
But if they do, I mean, he moves the ball quickly. Like, that's what I would worry about, is that he picks you apart if you do that too much. You'll get to him a few times for sure.
I'm not saying the Bombers are going to roll around and cover 0 all game and not respect his arm. But here's the thing. Willie Jefferson's coming on one side and Jackson Jeffcoat's coming on the other side. And as we saw, like, for instance, in last year's Grey Cup, you know, when teams put so much into stopping the guys on the edge, The next thing you know, it's Jake Thomas, it's Casey Sales coming up. Nathan Rourke's going to have to get rid of the football very quickly. I think we can safely say that. And if he's able to do that, there will be. I mean, he's such a talented guy. He's got such a great arm. We saw what he did last week. Like, I'm not saying that they're not going to have anything going, but I do think the defense is going to be incredibly well prepared. And I think the Bomber offense will be going right out of the gate. You mentioned Ellingson. Be very good to have him back. He had such a great connection with Caleros earlier on. And in his absence, Rashid Bailey stepped up. Nick Dembski's had a monster season. And Dalton Schoen was the most productive receiver in the Canadian Football League this year. So, listen, if BC can get this done, it will be one of the greatest victories we've seen in a long time in the Canadian Football League, because, as Nathan Rourke says, they're getting to measure themselves against the team that has set the standard. To beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, you need everything to go right, and I'm just not sure that BC, health-wise, is in a position to do that, or frankly, has the personnel. That being said, it's going to be a great, great game, a great atmosphere, and we're going to be all about it. We do have, at CoolBet right now, there's some division final specials. I love the Sunday specials.
These are great.
The NFL. Let's just roll these out and we'll get your thoughts on it. Most passing yards on Sunday. Nathan Rourke, the clear favorite at plus 135. Trevor Harris plus 280. McLeod Bethel Thompson plus 290. And Zach Caleros plus 400. I was a little surprised that Zach, I guess they really do feel that the Bomber running game will take a good portion of it. And to be honest, Nathan Rourke, especially last week, it was all on his arm. But, do you give either the Eastern quarterbacks a chance maybe to take some of the high shine from the other guys and get in there? I'd have a hard time. Listen, I just think there's value on Zach Caleros. Wouldn't it all surprise
at 4-1, there's value on him for sure.
It's happened so far. And probably a little bit tough maybe to lay it on Rourke at such a low number at plus 135 going against the Bomber defense on the road. What's interesting, I'm starting to think more and more. I'm so focused in on this West game. Could it be Harris or MBT in the East that actually wins that at almost 3-1?
Hang on, Huss. My camera just fell over. Hang on.
Oh,
everything's falling apart. Hang on. 1 second.
We're live. In the lock shop.
Just a sec. Let me jam that back on the wall. Wow.
Here, just for folks that are listening, I'll run through a couple of these other odds while you get that done. Highest scoring team on Sunday, Bombers plus 150, Argos plus 200, BC plus 375, and Montreal plus 425. Interesting that, Toronto is such a, we got 2-1 versus plus 425 in a game that's only a 3-point spread. And then the rushing yards is Brady Oliveira plus 250, James Butler plus 275, Stanback and Ouellette at plus 500, and Andrew Harris plus 650 back in. I'm not sure whether he'll have enough touches in his first game back to lead the league in rushing, but I wouldn't put anything past Andrew Harris. I will say that. But back to the passing before you had the technical.
Well, no, I was just going to say, and it might fall again. I was telling you, my wife was cleaning the office today, and I think she did something to the camera because it hasn't fallen down in 2 years. But I think with what we're seeing from these odds is the odds makers are expecting the Bombers to run the ball. Brady Oliveira, favorite to league in rushing. Zach Caleros, the long shot in the passing game. So, I think from a value perspective, Zach's got to be the play through the air at 4-1. He led the league in passing. He's 4-1. It doesn't make any sense. He's got, and that was without basically his full complement of wide receivers the entire season. So I do like that one. For the grad, it's tough on the running back because Montreal is going to use a couple of different guys. The Argos are going to use a couple of different guys. So I think because of that alone, I'd probably look at Butler or Brady Oliveira. I'd probably take Brady Oliveira, to be honest with you, even though he's the favorite there.
Yeah, I think people are going to make some money on these props if they hammer the Bombers. I'm not as convinced, and I'll probably, maybe I'll throw a little bit on Zach just because. But I'm going to be on Oliveira plus 250 on the rushing yards. I think that is going to be exactly what the Bombers try and do. Hold the football, keep Nathan Rourke on the sidelines. And as far as highest scoring team, I mean, I think the Bombers get this done. We've talked about it. They're ready to go. I'll probably take them at plus 150 as well. Now, is our exclusive up yet?
We have the number on it.
Yeah, it is. It is up there right now. So, as he said, I took the West. Dusty took the East. We both took a side, and we took a touchdown score. We've got the Bombers minus 4.5 for the partner parlay. Got to have it on an odd number so there's no push. So we've got Bombers minus 4.5. And I know we've talked a lot about Dalton Schoen being the guy this year, which he absolutely has been, and Greg Ellingson. But to me, Nick Dembski is the guy that I think we'll see get into the end zone in his hometown in front of the...
Buddy, I'm telling you right now how it'll happen. It'll be Dembski on like a post route right over the middle, right over top of the defense. He's had like 3 touchdowns. I guarantee. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they score their first touchdown of this game. 35 yards to Dembski right over the top of the defense.
Well, you know what's funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you recall last year's West Final, but when... I don't know whether this was the first.
Was that off the fingertips?
Yeah, the Bombers drove the ball 100 yards down to the Saskatchewan red zone, and then Caleros put a perfect pass onto Dembski's fingertips, and it somehow popped out and ended up being an interception. That was just sort of the way the first half went. But Dembski is such a game breaker. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if he sees 2 or 3 touches rushing the football on jet sweeps and whatnot. But he's proven that he is a big-time red zone target when they get down in close. Dalton Schoen's had the massive plays. He can score pretty much from anywhere. But Nick Dembski, big game coming up on Sunday. I like him for a touchdown, and Bombers minus 4.5. Of course, you've got the Montreal plus 3.5, and can't go wrong with Geno Lewis. I mean, so part of the big reason why I went with Montreal last week, I thought they had the best player out there. And, man, he and that team came up big.
Yeah, if you're going to throw a TD prop for the Alouettes in there, it's Geno Lewis, because that guy's a freak. He's an absolute freak. So I love the Dembski call. I think the Lewis call is the way to go. And if we can hit their 2 of our favorite plus 1250, I mean, come on. This could be a glorious flight home from Winnipeg Monday morning, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just glad we've got touchdown props, because we know one way or the other, if they hit or if they don't hit, we won't get screwed by 6 damn yards from Alvin Kamara.
Yes, exactly.
Plus 10-1 parlay like happened on the Monday Nighter. So let's see what happens. Bottom line is you're going to be calling this game here in Winnipeg, and it will be a big day for you, finishing up a great year calling games. And as I say, we're saving the best for last here in the Peg. It won't be particularly warm, although it won't be freezing like it was last year. And I think that is going to make this the most raucous crowd we've seen in Winnipeg, well, since last year in early December when the Bombers booked their ticket to the Grey Cup the last time.
I cannot wait, buddy. I will see you this weekend for maybe the best game of them all. We'll see how it goes, buddy. And we'll be back tomorrow, obviously, with Thursday night football, getting you set for that with our partners over at Cool Bet Huss. Talk to you then, man.
You got it. Don't forget to sub to the YouTube channel, folks. It's up, pin tweet at Lock Shop Bets.